Well, good morning, children. That's what Aaron Clary would say if this was an Aaron Clary video, but it's not.
You can scream and shout with all your might.
Oh, you can scream, shout, whine, cry, snivel, piss, and motherfucking moan.
Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
You can shove Obama's cock up your ass. That way your head has something to keep it company.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
Or let's see, what, do you think there might be a third possibility? I bet there is. I bet you could be wrong and I could be right. I have a feeling that's how it's going to happen, because that's how it usually happens, actually. 9 times out of 10, at least. We'll go ahead 9 times out of 10. I am the Great One himself, and this is the Stating the Obvious podcast, the weapons platform from which I launch the cruise missile of my intellect that hones in on and destroys motherfucking statists all around the world. Why? Because you're statist, and you're not even really animals. You know, here's the thing about being a statist. Statists are not even animals, because animals can provide for themselves, right? You don't see, like, beavers don't need Obamacare in order to be healthy. You know, a deer don't need fucking welfare and food stamps in order to get food. Lions don't need affirmative action in order to hunt down gazelle. Animals can fucking provide for themselves because animals are competent, because animals, of course, have to live under the rules of evolution and natural selection. Whereas, of course, those of you who are statist have gone to great lengths to exclude yourself from natural selection, from evolution, and of course that's the purpose of the state, is to keep the most inferior people in a society alive, because the state benefits from having a small number of people who are competent and a very large number of people who are incompetent, right? The state needs one Bill Gates and one Steve Jobs and one Donald Trump to create all of this stuff. But then the state needs the millions and millions of slaves and sheeple, or the self-identified 99%. All of those people are needed to buy the stuff. Those people are needed to serve as the guards in the prison industrial complex. Those people are needed to go to foreign countries and kill brown people. Those people are needed to do all of the menial work that needs to be done to keep the state operating. Hi, how's it going, y'all? I am the Great One himself, Cynical Libertarian Society, CYNLIBSOC.com, on the interwebs. In the control room, on the other side of the glass, is the lovely and adorable Randy, doing what women should do, which is being seen and not heard. And today is... Randy, what the fuck is today? Thank you. Today is the 17th of September, 2014. I don't know where the fuck summer went. I'm really pissed off about that. Just got in from trail running, did about 8 miles, saw some deer, also saw some birds. I almost got video of them, but they flew away because I got pretty close to them. I'm not a bird guy, I don't know what they were, but they were blue. They had like a white neck and black tail feathers and a black body with blue on the wings. There were 3 of them, and I was fairly close to them. I mean, when we're saying, you know, fairly close for a wild bird, to get that close to a wild bird is pretty damn difficult. They were really pretty. I should have whipped out the cell phone and tried to get a shot, but I was tired because this was on the way back. But it was a great fucking run. Damn, it was a good run. I just had breakfast, standing here finishing off my coffee before I go into the world and start causing trouble. And of course, talking to you guys. While trail running this morning, I am continuing the saga of Hunger Games, listening to the Hunger Games audiobook. I have some observations. I've had some observations in past episodes here recently about Hunger Games. I have some more observations. I really understand why this book appeals to women so much. Not just because of the elements of statism and the fact that most of you who are statists would, as I've talked about before, would love to live in this world where the capital rules everything, and you send your children off to die for the glory of the capital and all this other stuff. Damn it. I was about to say something brilliant. Oh, yes! I was about to say something brilliant, then I forgot what it was, and then I just remembered. The other thing, as I'm listening to the Hunger Games and I hear Katniss thinking whatever about the capital, I could just hear, like, if this were real, and you were in the world of the Hunger Games, and you were walking around out at one of the districts, District 12, or what the fuck ever, you could just hear, if you said anything like, well, don't you think it kind of sucks the way the Capitol takes our children and puts them in the Hunger Games? And you just hear the people who would look at you and they'd say, but without the Capitol, who would build the roads? Without the Capitol, how would we get electricity? Without the Capitol, where would food come from? It just, I've talked about this just over and over and over. How I am just fucking fascinated by the fact that you fucking statists will consume entertainment like Hunger Games and Spartacus, the Starz TV show Spartacus I'm talking about. And all the time you're identifying with the people who are overthrowing the evil government, and yet as soon as you turn off the television, you're just completely fucking unaware that you are one of the fucking tools that is supporting slavery. It's just, how can you see this stuff in fiction and yet you turn away from the fiction and you look at reality? And this is the beauty of, this is why statism is a religion. Because just like a religion blinds people to the obvious, statism blinds you to the fucking obvious, right? This is why this podcast is called Stating the Obvious. This is the 199th episode of Stating the Obvious. In all 199 episodes, I have never said a single fucking thing that shouldn't be obvious to anyone with more than 7 brain cells. I mean, when I say that the police are here to protect criminals, not stop criminals, that's blindingly fucking obvious. When I say that Obama is killing people in foreign countries with flying robots, that's blindingly fucking obvious. When I say anything that I say, when I say that you people out there are slaves because you need permission from the government to get married, and you need permission from the government to get a job, you have to have a government-issued identification number to get a job. It's all, everything, 199 fucking episodes, every word that has ever come out of my mouth is shit that should be obvious. I mean, you ask a fucking 8-year-old child, say to an 8-year-old child, if you have to get somebody's permission to do something, are you free? A fucking 8-year-old child would be like, of course you're not. If you have to get somebody's permission, no, you're not free. But you motherfucking 30-year-old people out there, I'm free. Why, those terrorists, they hate us for our freedom. Yeah, we're so free. I'm free. Today I got my business license and I got my government identification number. And then tomorrow I'm going to go to the courthouse and get permission for me and my sweetheart to get married to each other. And then we're going to build a shed in our backyard if the zoning committee permits us to build the shed. Oh, I'm so free. I mean, you people are so fucking stupid. You're so fucking stupid. You're so fucking stupid. You're just fucking stupid. And the only reason you're alive, the only reason you are alive is because the government, the state, the corporations, the prison industrial complex are keeping you alive because you serve their purposes as cannon fodder. If evolution and natural selection were allowed to take place, the 99%, you'd all be dead. Your DNA would be out of the gene pool. And you know it, and that's why you're in love with the state. So to get back to Hunger Games, that's sort of a little mini rant there, as opposed to this entire 199 episodes of this podcast that have all been mini rants. Right? Yes. What's that? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Randy is telling me I should remember to plug episode 150 of Stating the Obvious, entitled Fuck You and Fuck Your Feelings, in which, for those of you who are getting your feelings hurt right about now, go listen to that episode and I will explain to you in great detail and length exactly why I don't give a fuck about your feelings and why you can go fuck yourself. That really was a good episode. It really was. I was proud of that one. I fucking, put that one on a frame on the wall or something. Alright, back to Hunger Games. The other thing about this book that's driving me crazy... Well, there's two things. The first thing was when I was listening to the part where Katniss first gets to the Capitol, and she's eating all of this food, and it's all... The text is all about the food. And I'm out here trail running, because I've only been listening to Hunger Games while I'm trail running. That's my current trail running book. And I'm out here running on the trail, and it's early in the morning, because I almost always go running early in the morning, because that's my favorite running time. And she's talking about all this food, and I'm like, God damn it, woman, you're killing me here. I'm out here, I haven't had breakfast, I'm running down there, and you're talking about, fucking just all this food. And it's damn it. So I come home and I eat everything in sight, which sort of defeats the purpose of running, but what the fuck. Anyway, the other thing that's driving me insane about this book, and this is why I can see why it appeals to women, is because so much of the book is just... it's nothing but... That was an unnecessary use of the word just. So much of this book, it's just... There I go again. It's nothing but Katniss's internal dialogue. And it's nothing but her self-doubt. And it's like, okay, now I understand why women love this book. Because, of course, women and feminine men spend their lives engaged in this... I shouldn't say women. I should, again, use my terms correctly because this is a fucking philosophy podcast. Femistatist of both genders. Femistatist live inside their minds and they spend all this time with their internal dialogue. And they spend all this time trying to rationalize everything, which of course you have to do. I mean, if you're a statist, right? A femistatist or a statist or a statheist, whatever kind of statist you are. You have to either spend no time at all doing internal dialogues, or you have to spend a lot of time doing internal dialogues, right? So, for example, the government makes killing illegal because killing is wrong. Then the government kills people. So, if killing people is wrong, and the government kills people, that means the government is wrong when it kills people, right? So again, that's just blinding statement of the obvious. 8-year-old child can get that. So to be a statist, you have to believe that killing is wrong, but the government can kill people and not be wrong. So in order to coalesce that belief inside your head, you have to either have no internal dialogue whatsoever, or you have to have a shit ton of internal dialogue in order to take what is obviously bullshit and translate it into something that you can pawn off as being the quote-unquote truth. So just the endless internal musings of Katniss, I swear to God, man, they're driving me insane. I like the story. I like the concepts. You know, I mean, it's... So I'm sticking with it. But god damn it, if the book was not... And of course, I've seen the movie. I know how it's going to end. The other interesting thing is, usually when you make a movie out of a book... Well, first of all, the movie sucks balls when you make a movie out of the book. That's a given. But usually, you have to cut things out of the book to make it fit into a movie because, of course, you dumb fucks out there don't have an attention span that enables you to watch a movie that's more than 90 minutes long, unless it's Titanic. And then people are going, wait, you mean Titanic was based on a real story? The interesting thing so far, and I watched the Hunger Games movie a considerable, if I can talk, amount of time ago. As far as I can remember, the movie so far has not cut anything out of the book. And I realize that's possible because the book is like 60 fucking percent Katniss's internal dialogue and 40% action. So I really rather wish that the Hunger Games had been written by a man, because then instead of these long internal dialogue conversations Katniss is having with herself about what she should do, it would just, you know, if a man wrote it, it'd be like, yeah, Katniss climbed up a tree, waited, some stupid motherfucker walked underneath her, she put an arrow through the bastard, went down, took his shit, and while she was doing it, she thought, yeah, fuck you, asshole, now I'm gonna piss on your corpse. See, and so that would be it. But in the book now, that passage I just told you, that's like 10 pages. Because, oh, and then she remembered back when Prim was washing her hair once a year, and she thought about how the Capitol was a bunch of assholes, but God, if we didn't have the Capitol, though, who would build the roads? And so she's kind of, maybe she thought that, well, maybe the Capitol might be bad, and maybe I should pull my head in my ass and kill some people who are trying to kill me, but oh my God, then I'll be just like them. And yeah, just on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Could we put a little echo reverb on that? We could, but that would require post-processing, and I don't do post-processing. Okay. And then I found out in this nude celebrity photo leak that was on the internet for a while, apparently Jennifer Lawrence, right? It was nude pictures of Jennifer Lawrence, right? And she's the Katniss chick in the movie, right? She's kind of cute. Maybe I should go try to find those. My friend, because she's the one, we were discussing this, and she like Googles new Jennifer Lawrence pics on her cell phone and shows me things. Look, they're all over the place, and we're looking at them, and I'm like, no, these are Photoshop. It's like, are you people out there still doing that shit? What? What? No. No, where are we at? Where are we? I'm sorry, guys. You don't know what's going on, Randy. All right. All right. Hold on. I'm on a roll. We were... Randy's writing messages to me on the whiteboard. This is what's inspiring the laughter. We're almost 20 minutes into this, and I've gone nowhere near my fucking show notes. Even for me, this is quite an accomplishment. I'm just talking about shit. I'm not. All right. Photoshopping celebrities' faces onto naked bodies. You people, I mean, this is still a thing? Yeah, really? It's a democracy, the smartest generation ever. Why people they got education, they went to college, and this is what you people are fucking doing with your lives? You know, when I sit here and I talk about evolution and natural selection and people being removed from the gene pool, this is what I'm talking about. You have a computer, you have software, you have the capability to do things like Photoshop a person's head onto another person's body. And you're using this ability to do shit like Photoshop Jennifer Lawrence's head onto the bodies of naked women, and the head isn't scaled, right? It's really fucking obvious that that's not the head that goes with that body. You don't know how to match the shadows up. And then, like, really, the ones where a naked Jennifer Lawrence is having sex with other women? Yeah, I'm sure that's right. But I mean, again, this is why when people hear that you're so full of hatred, you hate. Yes, I do. I hate stupid people. Who the fuck is wrong with you people that you're sitting around doing shit like this with your life? Why don't you do something productive? Instead of photoshopping Jennifer Lawrence's head onto a naked body, here's something. Why don't you comb your hair, take a fucking bath, wash your face, put on some nice clothes, go outside the house, and actually talk to a fucking girl? Just don't reproduce, because we need your gene. We need to get your DNA out of the gene pool. All right, how are we? Like what? 22 minutes into the show now? No show notes. How about if I start actually fucking talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about? I agree. That's a brilliant idea. Is it really almost noon? Jesus Christ. All right. Well, this day is going fast. Alright, I have notes here. Let's talk about notes. I was talking to a friend of mine, and her husband lost his job. His job was eliminated. He was a DJ at a radio station. And I said, how the fuck do you eliminate the DJ position at a radio station? What did they do? Replace him with a computer? And she said, yes. In fact, they did replace him with a computer. Yes, my friends, technology sure is wonderful till it takes your job, isn't it? Now, I don't want to sound like a Luddite, because here's the thing. People are going to make this argument. And the argument I'm about to make is valid. It's also invalid in different ways, and that's why, again, I'm stating something that should be obvious to smart people, but since none of you are smart, I have to explain it. Well, alright, those of you who are my regular ANCAP listeners, you're smart. But, you know, that's one of the things too. 199 episodes. I still don't really have a target audience for this podcast. I mean, I do, but I don't. Because sometimes I'm talking to people who are ANCAPs. Like, for example, in the editions fairly previous to this, I did the 4-parter where I talked about why statism and fear and all this other stuff. I mean, that was primarily aimed at anarcho-capitalists. Explaining to them why I believe statists are statists and why statists cannot be converted, persuaded, convinced, saved, or anything else, and why we have to, instead of trying to save the statist and bring them into the fold, why our only option is to let them kill each other so that they die. So those episodes were for, yes, you're right, thank you. Randy's pointing out that it has nothing to do with the show notes, and I'm rambling again, and she's correct. Those episodes were for my fellow ANCAPs. And then a lot of these episodes are me explaining shit to statists, which sort of goes against what I just said. Why am I trying to explain something to a statist? A statist is too fucking stupid to understand it. So certainly statists are not my target audience. I think my target audience is people that are ANCAPs but just don't know it yet. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't need a target audience. But as I've said before, I'm just doing this for my own personal fucking amusement anyhow. Yeah, fuck it. Alright, it has nothing to do with what I'm supposed to be talking about. So, DJs replaced by computers. Now, I don't want to be a Luddite. Here's the thing. People say that as technology advances and takes over menial work, it frees people up to do other things. It frees people up to utilize their resources in better ways. I don't disagree with that in theory. Don't disagree with that in theory at all. For example, and these things actually exist, I just don't have one. If I had one of those little robots that runs around on your carpet and vacuums it, I would not need to vacuum the carpet myself. That would free up my time. I could do something more productive, like watch internet porn. So in that sense, it's absolutely true. But there's another sense in which it isn't true. So for example, let's take this, because I think this is a good example. You've got people working on an assembly line building automobiles for the automobile corporations that were bailed out by Obama, who was elected because he's really going to stick it to those rich people. And he's going to stick it to those rich people by bailing out the corporations when they should have been allowed to fail and go out of business. Why? Oh, because he's the Messiah. That's why. And if you don't agree with Obama, well, you're racist. So back in the days before Obama bailed out the automobile corporations, which interestingly enough, when the automobiles were built on an assembly line by humans, the automobile corporations were actually making money because the government wasn't bailing corporations out back then. Now that they're automated, they have to be bailed out. That actually bears some thinking about, just to see where it goes. I had no conclusion. That just popped into my head. I'm just throwing that out. So back in the day, right, when we had to walk uphill to get to our automobiles, the cars were built on the assembly line by people. Then the people were replaced by robots. And so the argument is made, well, that this is good because now you need people to maintain the robots, which is a higher skill set, which means those people can get paid more, and all the people who worked on the assembly line can now go and use their time and abilities doing something else. And so there's this reallocation of resources that benefits everyone. Yes and no. This reallocation of resources that comes from replacing people with robots certainly is beneficial to the whole of society, to the economy. I believe that. The problem is it's not necessarily beneficial to the people who get displaced. Now, are some of the people who get displaced going to go and learn to repair robots and get the job repairing the robots, or will they take their mechanical expertise and will they start their own business, or will they go work for somebody else, or will they learn something completely different? Yes, of course, some people will do that. Unfortunately, for us, ANCAPs, a large number of those people will simply become welfare recipients. Unable to do anything other than put the same nut and bolt into an automobile on an assembly line, they will become the parasites that live off of those of us who actually produce things. Thus, my friend's husband, who is qualified to talk on the radio, and has been talking on the radio for a very long time, has now been replaced by a computer. Well, they don't need anybody to fix the computer, and since all the radio stations on the entire United States of America are owned by, 3 different corporations, the odds of him getting paid to talk on the radio are pretty slim, because if they're replacing the DJs here in the People's Republic of Fort Collins with computers, then they're probably replacing the DJs that replace themselves with computers also. So what does he do? And again, he could go start a business. He could learn. So he could do lots of things, or he could become a parasite. Am I saying that we should not have technological progress and we shouldn't replace people with robots? No, absolutely not. All I'm saying is, see, and this is one of the differences between, this is why I'm stating the obvious. Because the people on both sides, right, the Luddites want you to believe that replacing people with machines is always evil. It's always terrible. Every time you replace a person with a machine, you hate black people, and you're homophobic, and you're misogynist, and yada yada, and blah blah blah. And of course, people on the other side want you to believe that every time a person is replaced with a machine, this is a great thing for technology, the economy is stronger, blah, 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 everything's better, yada, yada. All I'm saying is, case-by-case fucking basis. And this, of course, is what people don't like. We as human beings, we seek patterns. We excel at pattern recognition. We look for patterns as we go through life. Right? For example, we have a pattern. We see a chair. We sit on the chair doesn't fall out from under us. Then we see another chair, and we sit on the chair, and the chair holds our weight up, and it does. And so after a while, we create this pattern recognition scheme that says when we see a chair, when we see something that we identify as a chair, we know we can sit on it, and it will not fall out from under us. And that's much of how we make it through life. Right? If you had to reevaluate, will a chair hold my weight up every time before you sit in it, your life would feel a lot longer. So we utilize pattern recognition. And as humans, we like to put things into patterns, and we like to simplify. And this is where things like religion and statism come from. Well, why is the earth inhabitable? Oh, because God made it that way. Jeez, that's very simplistic. But, well, people are being replaced by robots. That's terrible. Well, that's very simplistic. Well, people are being replaced by robots. That's great. Well, that's very simplistic. Which, of course, is interesting because a lot of people will say, well, you adhere to the non-aggression principle. That just says it's always wrong to initiate violence. That sure is simplistic. Maybe so. But the thing is, I can back up the case for the non-aggression principle with logic. Nobody can back up the case that replacing people with robots is always beneficial. Nor can anybody back up the case that replacing people with robots is never beneficial. In very specific circumstances, you can make case-by-case arguments one way or the other, which I think can be very powerful and solid. But there's no way in that particular example to make an overarching argument that always holds true. And of course, this is one of the things that statists fear. Statists fear having to think. Statists fear having to take each individual situation, assess it within the confines of its particular circumstances, and then reach a conclusion. Doing that is absolutely terrifying to a statist. That's why you have these statists who just, they'll tell you, I vote straight party Democrat. I vote straight party Republican. Right? That's why they do that. Because, and I mean, in a way, it doesn't matter one way or the other in any practical sense. If you tried to get these people to think about issues or to think about politicians or whatever, just stop. If you try to convince them they should stop voting, stop voting straight party ticket and think about the issues. I mean, the odds of them thinking about the issues are about the same as the odds of a retarded hamster doing nuclear physics equations. So, I mean, there's no point in attempting to do anything about it. You just need to recognize it, that humans want to be told what to think. This is why things like the news media are so popular, because you read the news and the news tells you what to think and you're good to go. This is why political parties exist, because people want someone to tell them what's right and what's wrong. This is why religions exist, so that somebody can tell them what they're supposed to do and not supposed to do, because the average person cannot take life as it comes at them on a case-by-case basis and evaluate things. So what does that have to do with anything? I don't know, I thought you knew. The second part of people being replaced by machines is, and I am completely, as usual, I am completely out of the loop on any and all current events, and I need to pour myself some more coffee. I read, it was on the internet, it must be true. I saw some babbling on the internet. Let me see if I can pour coffee without spilling it on myself like an idiot. Yes! So far, so good. I saw it on the internet, it must be true, something about fast food workers were going to go on strike because they want a minimum wage of $15 an hour. And yeah, I could probably type this into Google and get more information. But again, this is one of the things that it really doesn't fucking matter what's actually happening, which I know it sounds stupid to say that, or it doesn't really matter what's actually happening. It really doesn't, because again, to not go too far down a tangent, I mean, the economic collapse is coming. All empires collapse. The United States of America is an empire. The United States of America will collapse. The economic collapse is coming. I don't know exactly when, but it's coming, so you can get your fucking $15 an hour or not. It's not going to make a difference one way or the other. You know, if they get $15 an hour, it'll destroy the economy. What economy? The fucking economy's dead already. Give them, if you give them the $15 an hour, the economy's not going to die any goddamn faster. And so it really doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it's like, well, it's like if you go to the top of the Empire State Building and you jump off the Empire State Building, where you don't have a parachute and you're plummeting to the ground. How much difference will it make if on the way down you piss on yourself on the way down, or if you don't piss on yourself until you hit the ground and splatter? I mean, how much fucking difference does it make? Here's the thing. Here's where I'm going with this. You got a bunch of fucking idiots who have no skills, can't create any value for other people. They're working in fast food, so they obviously, you know, I know a lot of them have college degrees in liberal arts, but that was a bad choice that they made. So they're asking people, do you want fries with that? And they think they should get $15 an hour to ask people, do you want fries with that? Here's a fucking reality check. Here is what would happen in a sane economy, in a free market economy, in an anarcho-capitalist world. All the people who take the orders, all the people who say, do you want fries with that, you would fire their asses because they're not needed. There's this thing, some of you out there may have heard of this, heard of these, they're getting to be pretty popular. They're called smartphones. And this comes back around to what I said to my friend when I found out a computer took her husband's job. I said, everybody loves technology until technology takes their job away. Because everybody loves their fucking smartphones. You people, you fucking losers out there with your goddamn smartphones, you're just in love with those things. And that's why, when they take your job, I'm going to laugh. I am going to enjoy every fucking minute of it. Here should be step number 1. Everybody who works the front counter at McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever, you fire them. And you don't need them. There's this thing called a smartphone. Okay. You want to eat at McDonald's. You download the McDonald's app to your smartphone. You go onto your smartphone, you place your order, you hit send. Through the magic, there's this thing, you may have heard of it, it's called the internet. But without the government, who would build the internet? That's right, Al Gore did that. Your order goes from your smartphone to the internet. The smartphone can find the nearest McDonald's, send your order, guide you to it if you don't know how to get there via GPS. Furthermore, because your smartphone is tracking your location all the time, because remember, you're free. That's why the government and the corporations track your movements at all times using your smartphone, because you're a free person. Because McDonald's can actually track your location via your cell phone, They can actually see how far you are from the McDonald's store and how fast you're moving and estimate when you're going to get there. So they can start cooking the parts of your order, which now this part will still have to be done by people. So I'm not saying you're firing everyone. You're just firing the people that work at the front counter. You still need kitchen staff, at least for now. That they can be replaced later, but for now we still need the kitchen staff. They start cooking your order, timing it according to your arrival time, so that you basically walk in the door, and on your cell phone there will be the number, like your order number, 4731, and the meals will be sitting there, and there'll be a little lights above them. We'll say 4731 on a digital display, and you'll go pick up your bag. We do not need, as a society, there is no reason for me to walk into a McDonald's or a Burger King or an Arby's or a Wendy's and fucking have to talk to some pimple-faced shithead who thinks he deserves to be paid $15 an hour to ask me if I would like to supersize that. Technology is going to replace you fucking people. And these kids, the medicated generation, the smartest generation ever, I'm making an assumption here that the people who say, would you like fries with that, are primarily under the age of 30. Those of you who think you're the smartest generation ever are not intelligent enough to see that you're trying to get a pay raise for doing a job that should simply not even exist. There is no fucking reason to have somebody working the counter at a fast food restaurant. Absolutely none. It's absolutely fucking absurd. I mean, here in the People's Republic of Fort Collins, there's places like Mug's Coffee Shop. You can text their order. You can text your order to them, and they'll get it ready for you to pick up. You don't need counter people at a fucking fast food restaurant. I hesitate to call fast food restaurants. At a fast food feed station. Randy, how am I on time? That's what I figured. Hey, look at the bright side. Considering that... I'm dying. Considering that I've just done one thing off the page of notes, I've got plenty of notes for the next episode. God, if I don't choke to death and die. All the statists out there are going, oh yes, please fucking choke to death. Please choke. I got something that'll choke you, statist. It's called my cock. I'll drop it in your mouth and fucking shoot a wad in your throat. While you're trying to swallow that, you'll choke. Alright. What I want to talk about next. I gotta save that, because that's good. Where are we on time? Okay, I don't have much time, so I gotta save that. Let's do these. Victim status. Part of what keeps the statist afraid and thus obedient to the state is their victim status. And again, this is something I've talked about ad nauseum. The state wants you to be a victim, right? As I've said before, the state wants women to be raped. The state wants black people to be discriminated against. The state wants people to be victims of crime, because all of this stuff creates victims. And, as I've said before, if you're not a victim, then you don't have any reason to exist in the eyes of the state. Again, the state needs a certain number of creators. It needs the one Steve Jobs and one Bill Gates and one Donald Trump and yada yada yada. So the state needs a very small number of people who create things. But other than that, the state needs people who are slaves, people who are afraid, people who are victims. That is why the state always pushes victimhood. And I've run across lately two beautiful examples of victimhood. First one I discovered, courtesy of a video by Maddox, that apparently the internet, fucking people on Tumblr and shit, statist somewhere out there are in an outrage, uproar, whatever the fuck it is, whatever you statists do when you're not sucking Obama's cock. The statists are upset because of a Spider-Man cover that shows Spider-Woman with her, like, butt. You can see her butt. Oh my god, her fucking ass. And the statists are in outrage about this. Why? Because it's a woman's butt on a comic book cover. I don't need to talk about it much. If you want to hear more about it, just go to Maddox's page, Maddox, greatest page in the universe, and watch the fucking video. He pretty much handles it. But it's just this, it's an example of how, and again, context. Okay, look. Fucking people. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Your fucking savior, Hussein Obama, is murdering people in foreign countries with flying robots. You have TSA agents touching people's cocks in airports. You got the war on drugs. You got Guantanamo Bay still not shut down. You got taxation. You got for those left-wingers, you got the government bailing out the corporations. You've got all the corruption. And what is it you're getting outraged about? A comic book has a woman on the cover in a spandex suit who has superpowers because she got bit by a radioactive spider, and you can see her ass. That's what you have to get outraged about. Nothing says to me louder that you are a stupid fucking slave and you should be dead and your DNA should be wiped out of the gene pool than the fact that that is what you have to get outraged about. That is what you're upset about. A fucking drawing of a woman's ass on a comic book cover. And it's all just part of maintaining the victimhood. No matter how fucking upper middle class white you fucking people are, you've still got to find reasons to be victims. Right, let's do a little reality, or as the politically correct people would say, let's check our privilege. You need to check your privilege. Let's check our fucking privilege here for just a fucking minute. We live in the United States of America. All the fucking problems we have, there's lots of problems. Electricity works 24 hours a day. We have indoor plumbing. We have motherfucking refrigeration. We have so much fucking food, we throw the shit away. And you're sitting here screeching about victim status because of a drawing of a woman's butt on a comic book. How fucking privileged do you have to be that that is your problem in life? Victim status maintenance situation number 2. Going out running the other day, and I go past Civic Center Park. It's a park here in Fort Collins, right outside the courthouse, where justice is served, where you go in and you're reminded that you're the property of the government. And there's a rally going on at Civic Center Park about discrimination against handicapped people. Or is that the politically incorrect word? Handicapped. Yes, that's the word you're not allowed to use. Handicapped. People in wheelchairs. So I'm looking out and there's this field of a whole lot of people in wheelchairs. And they're here, they're having this rally because they're being discriminated against. Okay. Bear with me for a minute. This is discrimination. These people are having a rally on government government-controlled land that I'm paying for. They drove to the rally in their vehicles on the roads that I paid for. They have vehicles there, I saw them. The vans that are specially outfitted with the automatic ramp so they can run their wheelchair right up into the van and then go around the corner and drive it. They're in wheelchairs made out of metal and plastic, which are well maintained. Some of the wheelchairs are motorized wheelchairs that run on batteries and electricity and allow them to move around without needing anybody to push them. And they live in a country where the government says you have to have a fucking wheelchair ramp going to every fucking building. Otherwise, you hate black people and we're going to fine you money. And these people are out there because they're discriminated against. In a world where evolution, remember science? Remember that? Science? Have you heard of science? If evolution and natural selection were allowed to take place, these people would all be dead. And yet, these people are driving around in motorized wheelchairs paid for by the government with my tax money up the ramps that corporations and business owners are forced to build. And they're fucking discriminated against? Can you people just stop playing the fucking victim card? Can you at all stop playing the fucking victim card? And you can't, because you're statist. All of these people were fucking just terrified. I don't know what they're terrified of, because they're getting their asses kissed by all of society. All of this fucking disability shit none of these people bought those fucking cars themselves. None of these people bought those fucking wheelchairs themselves. None of these people paid the businesses they shop at to install wheelchair ramps. All of this shit is done by people who aren't in wheelchairs, paid for by people who aren't in wheelchairs. And these people in their fucking wheelchairs are sitting out here having this fucking rally, playing the goddamn victim card. Fucking please check your fucking privilege.